COVID came and shut us down. The big question was, will a chocolate company work in Florida? We realized it wasn't gonna work. It's not seeing the numbers that we needed to see, so we introduced ice cream.
We're viral for our giant ice cream cone. It's about this big, 5 pounds of ice cream.
Oh my, for some reason, that video came back and I posted it all the way to 60 million views.
And I've read probably close in on 150, 200 books over the past couple of years. It wasn't about being right, it was about finding out what's right.
You know, it just takes 100 years. There's companies that do it over the course of a century, but we want to do it over the course of a decade.
Hello everyone, welcome to Tea Talk. Today we have Grant and Austin is in the other car, but we're gonna start by doing a 6-hole match-ish. We'll see how many holes we get in, but we're gonna do a 3v1. We got Sam, also part of the hosting category. They're gonna scramble, and I'm gonna play my own ball, and we're gonna see who wins. Let's also start by, giving us a 2-minute bio about who you are, and yeah, just tell us how you got to the situation.
Absolutely. So my name is Grant. I met Seth through a buddy of mine named Garrett, who you guys might have seen. He owns a couple Crumble cookies franchises. And I'm an entrepreneur just like Garrett. Took over the family business called the Hampton Chocolate Factory about 3.5, 4 years ago. We were up in New York, started when I was 11. It's kind of the hobby business for the family.
Yep.
And then after a couple of years of that, COVID came, shut it down up there. My brother and I, we came to Tampa, Florida to go to University of Tampa.
Okay.
And decided if we could see if we can make the Hampton Chocolate Factory work in Tampa, Florida. So we opened up a store, and that was 3 years ago, right after COVID. It's been going really well.
Yeah.
We're on to looking for our second location.
Really? We're at?
We're looking in Miami,
Okay.
Boca, and Orlando.
Nice.
So it's probably going to be one of the three, unless something comes out of left field, and it's something we can't turn down.
Sweet. Yeah, and then you've had the Hampton Chocolate in Sparkman's Wharf for how long now? It's been 2 years?
Yeah,
3 years
so it's been 3 years. 3 years. Our anniversary for 3 years was about 20 days ago.
Okay. And then how did you guys even land on getting that location?
That location,
that's a prime location.
It is a prime location, and honestly, we got lucky.
Yeah.
We were, right at the end of COVID when we kind of started looking, and so it was easy to get into a good location at that time because no one was really looking.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
and then how did you guys come up with the Hampton Chocolate, like as a whole?
So it kind of our parents started it really to fill a void in the Hamptons, New York. There was no dessert or chocolate shop that kind of signified the vibe of the Hamptons. So it was kind of like Hamptons lifestyle brand, and the chocolate was the product. And then after a couple of years of that and being open up there, like I said, COVID came and shut us down. So when my brother and I came to Florida, the big question was, will a chocolate company work in Florida? Mm-hmm. And will people even recognize the name Hampton Chocolate Factory?
Yep.
After a couple of years, we realized, or after a couple months of being open, we realized that it wasn't going to work. We were kind of, just not seeing the numbers that we needed to see. So we introduced the ice cream into the brand.
That's right. And
that has gone viral for us. We've over 650,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh yeah. And
a ton more on TikTok. And that drives a lot of our business. A lot of the people find out about us through social media.
Okay.
Just like Crumble Cookies.
That's right. That's right. And then, so how did you guys birth the
giant cone?
Yeah, because I've been to a Lightning game, and then afterwards, I actually went to Hampton Chocolate,
you did?
and I was like, oh my gosh, those look amazing, and it's like this tall ice cream, and I was like, I'll get one of those.
You got the giant cone?
I got it, and it literally, I could not finish it because it was so much ice cream, but it was so good.
Did you do the challenge, or you just
No,
did it?
I just did it because I was like, oh, it looks great, because I love ice cream, but I was like, that's way too much. But I wish I was on an empty stomach, because I actually would have. I think I would have got it.
You probably could have finished it. I myself took down the giant cone. I did it on an empty stomach though. But yeah, I'm an ice cream connoisseur, so you could definitely do it.
Yeah, but how did the idea?
The idea was an accident.
Really?
It was an accident. Yeah, a big guy walked in, and my brother and I, running the business, weren't fully mature in terms of our business intellect and acumen. So we didn't have like portion control really going on. And when a guy ordered a large, he said, you know, I want a big large. And so I just made the cone as big as I could, and someone filmed it, and it got like 1,000 views. Didn't think anything of it. And then a couple months later, I set a goal of hitting 10,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
We were at like 2 or 3K, and for some reason that video came back, a different video, that cone came back, and I posted it, and it ended up going all the way to 60 million views.
Wow.
And our account, we finished at 70,000 followers before the month ended. And that was kind of the start. So it happened by accident, and sometimes that's how the best things happen.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're gonna get started with the golf here. First hole, par 5, dogleg left. So we'll see how this goes.
Welcome to Tea Talk, everybody. My name is Sam. I am co-hosting with Seth today, and today we have one of 2 guests here with us.
Austin Gappelberg with the Hampton Chocolate Factory.
Let's go. Thank you so much for coming on today. This is such a pleasure. We're excited to have you out on the course today. Should be a great match.
We're ready to hit some balls.
Let's do it. We're gonna have a 1v3 today. We're gonna have myself, Grant, and Austin versus Seth, because he's the little sweaty professional out here.
Professional golfer.
Yeah,
That's what he says. We'll have to see.
We will see how he plays. So usually the introduction question here on Tea Talk is give us a 2-minute bio about yourself, how you got into the business you're into, and yeah, let's just learn a little bit about you.
Yeah, so the Hampton Chocolate Factory is a family business started in 2014 in the Hamptons, New York, and that's where I grew up. So I spent all my childhood down there, but came to the University of Tampa in 2021, and it was kind of that perfect opportunity for Grant and I to open up our store right here in the center of Tampa in Sparkman Wharf. And we've established this mission to delight customers through a one-of-a-kind memorable experience. And we now have this overarching vision to build a 100-year generational legacy brand, becoming America's gift of choice and the most famous dessert. So
wow.
We have a lot of big aspirations.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear. So when you moved down in 2014?
Moved down, so business started in 2014,
okay.
Moved down to Tampa 2021.
Very cool.
I've been here ever since.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I
Awesome.
love Tampa, honestly.
It's great. It is great.
So if you haven't been to the Hampton Chocolate Factory, you're probably wondering, what do we do inside the Hampton Chocolate Factory?
What makes it different?
Yeah, what makes it different, right? So if you haven't already seen our Instagram or TikTok or any social media, we're viral for our giant ice cream cone. It's about this big, 5 pounds of ice cream.
Oh my gosh.
You look like you can take on the challenge, Sam.
You think so,
8 minutes or less, you
Dude.
finish the giant cone,
Really?
you get it for free.
Okay.
It is a challenge, but we do artisan ice cream sundaes in the store. We do decadent frozen s'mores, waffles, shakes, any dessert you can dream about.
Very
and then
cool.
On the other side of the business, we work with companies all across the country, law firms, finance firms, helping them with corporate gifts. When companies send out gifts to their clients or employees during the holidays, they choose the Hampton Chocolate Factory.
Cool. So you guys package it up for them and then send it on to your customers?
Yeah.
Or their customers?
Yeah, their customers,
Very cool.
exactly. So personalize, customize, and we do the rest.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good.
Lots of fun.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
And let's get into some golf.
Let's do it.
Oh no.
Sorry, boys.
All right, so we were talking about, you know, like how you make money and stuff. I wanted to like kind of ask you, what is the market like for chocolate as a whole, especially in Tampa or Florida?
Yeah.
Right? What is the revenue looking like? What is y'all's ROI? What is y'all's overhead? You know, kind of just give me a general overview of like all that stuff for yourself, if you don't mind.
Sure. The business, when we first opened, we did about $1 million first year in top line revenue, and we've grown a little over doubled it over the course of the past couple of years. We have some of the revenue coming from the store, and then we also have some of the revenue coming from the other division in the company, which is corporate gifting.
Okay.
Essentially when other businesses will gift their clients or employees, for example, law firms, they'll buy their clients gifts for the holidays. And in our first year of business, we kind of realized, Austin actually did, he gets full credit for this one, he realized that was a big opportunity for us to make up on the chocolate sales that we weren't seeing because we were in Florida. Because in Florida, consumer B2C business to customer sales for the chocolate weren't as prominent as they were in New York. And it makes sense, it's hot, you know, people don't eat as much chocolate, they eat more ice cream.
Yeah, so. Ice cream's good in Florida. Yep,
so Austin did a capstone project at the University of Tampa on that, made a business plan, 70 pages or something, and then put it into play. And that was the start of that side of the business. Now we kind of have divided and we call it divide and conquer, where he runs really that division, and I'm more running the store and marketing division, and we kind of collaborate on, you know, the company decisions, company-wide decisions. Our titles are co-CEOs, so we really will work together on anything that's you know, company-wide.
All right, Grant, they need you. They need you, Grant. Get it on there.
I went mini golfing like a month ago.
There you go.
Hey, dude, let's see it.
Sit.
Oh my gosh! So close.
Nice chip.
Beautiful shot.
Get in there.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Same spot.
Like, what is y'all's like ROI per year? Maybe just even this year, because I'm sure like every year your ROI has gone up a little more.
So our net is it's gotten a lot better, but we invest everything back into the business. Austin and I are both driven, you know, to, over the course of the next decade, build the Hampton Chocolate Factory to be a nationwide brand. And we know that only happens one of three ways. One is we do a really good job, we take our profits, invest them back into the business and grow. Two, we raise a ton of money by, you know, going either public or just with, you know, private equity or investors. And three, really that it you know, just takes 100 years. There's companies that do it over the course of a century, but we want to do it over the course of a decade.
Yeah.
So we're going for the first. We were on paper close to 24% net for the business last year in 2024. That said, yeah, you know, we're working towards being ready for store number 2, and we're gonna need capital for that, as well as capital for, you know, just kind of the constant growth. Growing takes capital. Yep. So we've kind of learned that, and we're preparing for it.
Yeah. So the systems and processes for, you know, your business as a whole, is it able to be copied, and then that's how you're able to start another location?
We're working on that.
That's what you're working on.
We're working on that. So this year we brought in a general manager who is kind of like you know, working into this operations manager role. So it's kind of starting with this store. You know, there's really 2 big initiatives this year. One is streamline operations so that it can be carbon copied. 2 is stability in our marketing success. So with social media marketing, it's very turbulent, because social media, you go viral and then you don't go viral and then you go viral. And this year, we want to prove to ourselves that we can be consistent with social media marketing, because the fact of the matter is, when we have 10 stores, 20 stores, if we're not able to be consistent with that, then, you know, with all that overhead, it could be a big problem. Yeah. So this year, my #1 goal is to really reach new heights on social media marketing, but do it in a way that can be maintained.
Exactly.
So you talked a lot about investing your time back into yourself to continuously grow. What are some ways that you invest your money back into the organization, or just as a family in a whole, invest money back into the organization outside of the normal daily operations and normal purchases? What are some investments you make into the business?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, for us, it's always about investing back in the business. I mean, to be honest with you, you know, Grant and I really don't pay ourselves. We live through the business, and we simply invest every single dollar that we make back in, because, you know, in order to build that 100-year brand, you have to invest every single day, not just your time, but your money. So remember, store number 2 is coming pretty soon, so we're gonna need capital to fund that store. For sure. So it's kind of just utilizing our resources and being strategic in how we think about them.
Absolutely. I love what you said, live through the business.
Yeah.
That is such a great line. Yeah. I love that a lot.
We do it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
All right, Grant, so I wanted to ask you, so, you know, we were talking about how important, you know, social media was for, you know, your business. Can you kind of explain that a little bit further?
Sure, yeah.
And tell us like a little more about your like marketing strategies as well.
Absolutely. So our marketing strategy is social media dominant. We really focus on leveraging viral social media to drive both brand awareness and kind of, honestly, it hits every part of the funnel, from awareness to retention in terms of the marketing funnel. We kind of stumbled on it after seeing this company called The Yard Milkshake.
The Yard, yeah.
And so we basically kind of latched onto this idea of using it to build our business too. And it's been working really well. Currently, you know, the thing that has made a big difference in our marketing and our sales volume is influencer marketing, user-generated content on TikTok. So we kind of launched a micro-influencer and nano-influencer strategy, or campaign rather, like 5 months ago, and we've kind of been figuring out how to optimize it for product launches, and it's been pretty transformational. We've seen sales go up 20-ish% based on that, which is a big jump, you know, in any business. If you can push sales up 20% as a whole, and the cost of it is next to nothing, it's huge, because everything we do is unpaid. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, so like how important, like, so you have different marketing strategies, like what are they? Or is it just social media, or do you have other marketing strategies as well?
We do some other things.
You guys have your website as well.
Yeah, we have our website, SEO, you know, email and SMS.
Really? Okay.
We have all those things, and you know, we even have LinkedIn and basically all the basics. The way I think about it though, Seth, is all those things are just kind of the fundamentals.
Yep.
The thing that's really gonna be the what actually makes you grow in sales or shrink in sales is social media.
Really?
Social media in our industry, the dessert industry, and I'm sure you had Garrett on here from Crumble Cookies.
Yep.
I'm sure he said the same thing. You know, it's the holy grail.
Yep.
There's nothing that is going to replace, or there's nothing that's going to be as good as it. Besides word of mouth. Word of mouth is, you know, but social media I really look at as an extension of word of mouth. Social media, I mean, word of mouth happens on social media now. Yeah, it's been huge for us.
Yeah, that's really good. And then, how many like customers have you seen come from like everywhere? And you know, just because you know, you got the Hampton Chocolate, right? That's New York. Do you have people who come from like New York
that's
and all
a great
around
question,
the world?
actually. We literally have people come from China, from Japan, from Barcelona, from South America, from all over.
Just because of social media.
Yeah, because of social media. So if they're traveling in Tampa, you know, we're like a bucket list item. They usually are getting that giant cone. It's funny, you were telling me you tried the giant cone just on a whim, but yeah, these people look forward to it for a year. They'll have it on their bucket list, literally.
Really?
and they'll take a vacation to Tampa, come to the Hampton Chocolate Factory, get their Grand Cone.
Wow, that's awesome.
So tell us a little bit more about the operational side of the ice cream business that you guys have running.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have the retail store, and during the year, we have about 15 to 20 team members.
Okay.
We don't call them employees because everyone's part of the team, right?
Gotcha.
It's like a sports team.
Absolutely.
Every person plays a role to achieve the level of success.
Sure.
And then we also have a warehouse too, and in the warehouse we have a team of 10 to 15 during peak season, even 20 that we're expecting to hire this year.
Wow.
As the demand continues to increase. And
Absolutely.
they're packaging the chocolate, shipping out all the gifts to satisfy and most importantly delight every single person that receives one across the country.
That is super neat. So as of right now, if I understand correctly, you guys are sitting at one location in Tampa.
Yep.
And you're looking to potentially expand quite soon.
Absolutely. I talked about a 100-year brand, right? We're not going to stay one store for 100 years. So right now we're looking at, potential different markets, either Orlando or Miami. For us, it's destination stores and destination cities. That's the model. We don't want to have a store in every corner like a McDonald's or, something like that. We want to be an experience, something that people travel to. So Orlando, Miami are prospects for store number 2. We'll have to stay tuned to see what happens.
Cool, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning the different accounts you have that you will package and deliver products to for their team. Yeah. What are some of those accounts? Any big names?
Yeah, there's a couple, obviously. Every year we're working to get bigger and bigger accounts.
Sure.
But we just started working with a law firm, Cozen O'Connor, out of Philly.
Okay.
We work with them on, on a, I don't want to say global, but national scale.
Sure.
But we also work with a bank out of Utah, Tab Bank. We work with the Tampa Bay Rays. We also work with the Hard Rock. We're working with the Tampa location, and soon we're going to be working with the Cincinnati one.
Very cool.
For us, it's really about delighting our clients. So we are striving to really get referrals this year. Doing the service, but also figuring out how we can deepen the account and then find obviously more that are just like them.
So another question I have for you is, you and your brother obviously both run this business. Tell me, like, a lot of people, that's difficult. A lot of people say, stay out of the family, right? What are the challenges of, being in a family business, and not only that, but in a partnership too?
Yeah, it's a good question. It was never really a challenge in terms of the way my brother and I work together. We kind of set this dynamic from the start and set out, really with it as a non-negotiable to never let it interfere with our relationship. And I feel like when you commit to something, you make an internal commitment, as long as you have good integrity, that makes a big difference. And we did that in the beginning, where we said to ourselves, both of us, that we were gonna make this work.
Yeah.
And so it has. We've kind of gotten to the point now where we run 2 separate sides of the business, so it's kind of like we each have our business within the business. But even before that, when we were working alongside each other, it was still not, not a problem, not something we worried about in terms of like, what if, one day there's a fork in the road. It's definitely something that other people talk about all the time. And I would just say, it's the commitment to make it work that really made all the difference.
Yeah.
So the Hampton Chocolate Factory is with your family and your brother, obviously, as well. Tell me what that's like. What's the day-to-day look like? What are the conflicts? What are the pros and cons? What do you enjoy about it?
Absolutely. Starting in the family business, working alongside your brother, obviously, you can learn a lot. And I can say confidently that we've become closer than ever working together. And we, in the beginning, a little bit of friction, as I'm sure you can imagine, but we found our roles and responsibilities. Now Grant spearheads the store while I focus on the corporate, and we're able to kind of divide and conquer.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
seems like a great team.
Yeah, works out. It's lots of fun.
Perfect. So obviously running a business is nothing to take lightly. It's a constant grind of learning and cultivating yourself. Yeah. So how are some of the ways that you do that to make sure that you're on top of your game?
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of came up with this saying called BVOM, the best version of myself. And there's many different ways to achieve that, right? But for me, it's self-education and continuing to give myself the most amount of resources I can to succeed. That's reading books. I've read probably close in on 150, 200 books over the past couple of years.
Let's go.
I'm training for an Ironman right now.
Okay.
I do, triathlons, and I
Cool.
also, meditate every day, stretch every day. There's these certain things that keep you grounded.
Yes.
Otherwise, you'd go crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, that's awesome. And you were mentioning that you have come up on close to 200 books, which is incredible. What are like your top 5 off the top of your head, if you can think of them?
Yeah, I can definitely think of a couple.
Let's hear
Everyone loves this book, Atomic Habits, which I totally love. But I honestly, for me personally, there was a book called The Power of Habit by a guy, Charles Duhigg.
Okay.
That was more impactful for me, whether it was just the way he wrote it or where I was at in my life. But
Sure.
it definitely was really, gave me a foundation to creating habits and habit stacking and everything like that. Another one, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. That's a great one. That's you better read that a couple times.
That's a classic.
We were talking before, Dale Carnegie, Win Friends and Influence People. I just read a leadership book a couple months ago. One of the ones that I enjoyed most was called Radical Candor. It was an orange cover. It's probably why I liked it, because it was orange. I like the color orange. And it talked about, leadership skills like Steve Jobs, and how they really highlighted it wasn't about being right, it was about finding out what's right. It's not about the person that has the right answer, but it's about figuring out what is the right answer to solving the problem.
Very interesting.
There's a lot of good books out there, but I honestly ordered another 13 books today.
Yeah,
And
there
they're
you
coming
go,
next week.
man.
So,
let's go.
It's just finding the right ones, and for me, it's continuously getting the repetition of the good information, because you can never have enough positivity.
For sure, absolutely.
So another question I had was, what does your day-to-day look like? What does your day-to-day look like, and what does Austin's day-to-day look like?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm really kind of all over the place in terms of my day-to-day. There's no set routine for me. So, depending on the month, depending on the time of the month, the day of the month, I'm doing a different thing. I would say, I do maybe 80% from my computer in terms of the work I get done, and it's kind of that higher level thinking and activities.
Yeah.
And then, the 20% could be in store, in meetings, and a bunch of other things. And same with Austin. Austin might even be more, computer and work from home based than me. He's really doing the sales for the corporate gifting. He does travel a decent amount, so he's probably in the 80% too. Where he'll go to conferences. Last year he went to like a dozen conferences and was meeting potential corporate clients. Then in that side of the business, it's a $3,000 average deal size.
Wow.
So it's it's definitely something where there's a sales cycle. It's a real B2B sales. So.
Nice.
Alrighty, so we switched some driver seats here.
Yeah.
Getting some time on the car. You talked a lot about investing your time back into yourself.
Yeah.
To continuously grow. What are some ways that you invest your money back into the organization, or just as a family in a whole, invest money back into the organization outside of the normal daily operations and normal purchases? What are some investments you make into the business?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, it's always about investing back in the business. To be honest with you, Grant and I really don't pay ourselves. We live through the business, and we simply invest every single dollar that we make back in, because in order to build that 100-year brand, you have to invest every single day, not just your time, but your money. So. Remember, store number 2 is coming pretty soon, so we're going to need capital to fund that store. For sure. So it's kind of just utilizing our resources and being strategic in how we think about it.
Absolutely. I love what you said, live through the business.
Yeah.
That is such a great line. Yeah. I love that a lot.
We do it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Jeez.
How did it hook back?
Oh
what the hell?
Yeah, he's not bad. Not his first day golfing.
Wow.
Good shot, yo.
That was awesome.
So out of everything that goes on in the business throughout the year, what would your highlight be?
Highlight?
Yes, what is the thing that you most look forward to?
For me, it's about building relationships, and luckily going to conferences and going to events, I get a chance to do that with a lot of different people.
Sure.
And I would say that there could be no better business than chocolate and ice cream. Everyone's already happy, right? Everyone's excited to talk to you, because I always drink chocolate. Right. I'm going to a conference tomorrow. I'll be in Atlanta tomorrow morning.
Nice.
I'm gonna have a backpack full of chocolate.
Absolutely.
So anyone I go up to, you know, at first they might have a shield, but once they say chocolate, they're
going to be excited to see it.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
super cool, awesome. So the networking is what you love the most.
Yeah, networking's might become my thing.
Very
I like
cool.
networking.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Been able to actually network with people like Tommy Hilfiger.
Really?
And a couple prominent billionaires that building relationships with and are now mentors. So
that is
I like
super
to say,
cool.
you know, there's this theory of Connect 6 where you're only 6 touches away from the next big connection.
Okay.
Right. So I know you know another person, that person, you know, you're really only 6 connections away. And the way I got connected to Tommy Hilfiger was it took me about a year to land a meeting with the guy.
Interesting.
He connected me to another guy who connected me to
wow.
You know,
that is super neat. I like that a lot. We're gonna have to quote that one. You're only 6 touches away
from your next
big
connection.
I love that. That's cool. Good advice.
Get in there.
Oh, so
good
close,
putt.
man. Back you go.
So Grant, let me ask you this. So you've been in business for a long time now. And tell me, how did you like get inspired, or get motivated to like even be in business in the first place? Like, what inspired you to work for yourself, have your own business? What is your why?
I was always into the entrepreneurial aspect of things as a kid. I basically, just like my brother, had all these like side businesses, lemonade stands, car washes, shoveling snow. I was always out kind of trying to make a dollar. My senior year of high school, I actually kind of had this moment where I basically saw myself going down a path that was not what I had dreamt of as a little kid. Meaning, I was having a lot of fun, and I was kind of getting into just partying. I was on my way to be a frat star, let's say.
Yeah.
And I decided, after a couple events happened, I decided that wasn't where I wanted to go, wasn't how I wanted to spend the next 4 years. So I committed to really starting a business or growing a business, and the opportunity there was the Hampton Chocolate Factory. So I didn't want to take that, to be honest with you, because I had always thought that I'd start my own business from scratch.
Yeah.
And I was kind of against the idea of going into the family business. But
what made you change?
What made me change was realizing, looking out there and looking at life in general. I feel like the way I think about it now, in life, everyone gets dealt a deck of cards. Everyone has a foundation. Some people it's stronger than others. Some people it's, they got to start from ground zero. And at the end of the day, it's about where you go from there. It's not about, what that is from the start, because you're not able to control that. You're just a kid, and it's your parents. So it's about what you do from there, and I thought it would just be stupid to pass up on an opportunity. I'm a big believer in taking advantage of every opportunity.
Yeah.
And besides if it's not a good one, then you say no to it.
Obviously.
But yeah, I changed my mindset and committed to building the Hampton Chocolate Factory, and it's been going really well. Happy I made that decision.
Yeah. So one of the questions that we ask our people is, what was your wall? And by wall, I mean, a time in your life where you hit rock bottom, and you never want to be there again. And for you were just telling me that, that your rock bottom was seeing like how your life was envisioned to be, and you didn't want to be there. So can you explain a little more about like your wall?
Yeah, I mean, I hit a couple rock bottoms.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. I hit a rock bottom having fun, meaning I hit a rock bottom when I was, on my way to be a frat star, partying and just hanging out with, people that were not necessarily doing the most productive things. And that was one rock bottom for me. And then I hit another rock bottom when I was actually running the business.
Really?
Because I was pretty much in way over my head. I didn't know what I was doing. and it showed, and I kept making mistakes, and so it was kind of brutal at first, to be honest with you, Seth, because there was a lot at stake. So, you know, I felt a lot of pressure, but I didn't know how to make it work, and it took a long time for me to figure out the best way to make it work.
Earlier in the day, you were talking a lot about how most of your marketing is done via social media.
Yeah.
What platform have you noticed is the best?
Yeah, so simply put, you know, Grant and his team really run the social, but from an outside perspective, Instagram was the catalyst to start. You know, Grant set out this goal, I remember when he mentioned it to me last night, so it's fresh in my mind.
Cool.
He said to me, and he said to the team, and he said to everyone around us, 2023, I think this was, he said, we're gonna get to 10,000 followers by the end of the month. We were at like 4,000 or 5,000. Of course I supported it, right? But it seemed a little bit far.
Sure.
Everyone else was a doubter, as you know, that's just how business is.
Of course.
We hit 70,000 by the end of the month. And then from there, I mean, now we're at 640,000 on Instagram. But I will say, so Instagram was the start, but now we're really focused on TikTok.
Cool.
And you know, Instagram and TikTok are the platforms for the store, but we're going to be utilizing, and we utilize LinkedIn for the corporate, and soon we're going to start utilizing Twitter. Or X.
X, yes.
Yeah. Every social media has a different use case.
Right.
I have Arnold on my wall.
Arnold?
Yeah, you know.
Really?
Yeah. You know, at one point I was really into lifting. Still love lifting.
Yeah.
Lift every day.
How important is, you know, going to the gym for you?
Super important. And it was, you know, it was a competing priority at first where,
really?
You know, there wasn't enough time to go to the gym. Year 1, year 2, I was just kind of head down working 100 hours a week, and so they kind of got set aside for a little bit. But I came back. I would say, you know, it's been a big part of my lifestyle. I'm a big believer in, you know, doing whatever you do, doing it the best you possibly can.
Yeah.
And in terms of going to the gym, I go into the gym, and I'm gonna, you know, strive to make a great workout every day. Honestly, it's become a place of like relaxation for me, so like a leisure activity, just like I'm sure golfing is for you.
Exactly, literally.
You know, lifting is that for me.
That's really good.
Oh my!
Oh,
dude!
Yeah, so you know, there was a rock bottom that kind of made me get into the business, and then that second rock bottom, that made me want to do better. That made me commit to enjoying the journey, because it's one thing to, you know, be an entrepreneur, but it's another thing to do it and love it. And I wasn't loving it at first. I was like, oh, yeah. And it was just because I was so new to it, so inexperienced, just kind of thrown into it. And I was, you know, just making a ton of mistakes, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about investing, talked a lot about personal investing and back into the business.
Yeah.
What are some ways that you give back into the community?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we've donated, you know, sometimes if we can't donate cash or money, we donate experiences. So we donate chocolate and wine pairings, and those we give to nonprofits or whatever it is, but we actually have donated cash to the University of Tampa to their entrepreneurship program. So we always seek out opportunities to give back whenever possible.
Wow.
Because, you know, the community invests in us, we obviously want to invest back.
For sure. Very generous.
Yeah,
very generous.
You have to be.
So out of all the products that you guys create, what is your favorite? What should the viewers go try? Is what I'm saying.
All right, it's a good question. So our most popular is our strawberry shortcake ice cream sundae. Second's our fudge brownie bliss.
Okay.
And my personal favorite would be my favorite's got to be our marshmallow s'more.
Okay.
With crushed Oreos on top.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
that sounds crazy.
Crushed Oreos with marshmallow cream filling.
Oh
so
my
honestly,
gosh.
it is a decadent dessert, as we
Holy
like to say.
cow.
Yeah. I mean, Grant literally down. After we were both in the store until nearly midnight last night, helping out on the line.
Okay.
And Grant took the large cookies and cream home it was gone within 5 minutes of getting it. And then we cooked dinner.
Oh my gosh. So it's dessert before dinner for you guys.
Yeah, sometimes we do dessert before dinner, and sometimes we do dessert for dinner.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Depends
so
on
no
the
matter what, it's getting dessert.
Yeah, we eat a lot of dessert. He eats a lot
Nice.
more ice cream than me, but we definitely enjoy our dessert.
That's awesome. So the final questions that we're gonna ask today is, what is a wall that you hit in your career that you had to learn to overcome?
Yeah.
So pretty much a point in your life that you're thankful you had a learning experience from, but you'll never ever want to go back to.
Yeah, I mean, for me, in business, it was learning your numbers. First year in business, we didn't know what a P&L was. Let me tell you, if you don't know your numbers, you really don't know your business. So it took a while for us to learn that, and I can confidently say after 3 years, we finally have a good understanding of our numbers.
Very cool.
You know, and I would say that was a wall.
Wow.
When you don't know how profitable you are, you're kind of flying blind.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that was a learning lesson that luckily our mentors kind of told us, you know, get your stuff together, otherwise you're not going to be around that long.
Right.
So
Cool.
we figured it out pretty quick.
That is some solid advice right there.
Yeah.
Well, Grant, I really appreciate you having you on the channel.
Yeah.
It's been an honor. You know, we only got to play 4 holes, but it was still an even-ish match, but more about the interview, and it was great talking with you. And, you know, I hope that, you know, this second location, you know, goes well for you, and we can come back and, you know, see how everything's doing in a couple months or so, and we'll keep up and stuff.
Absolutely,
So.
absolutely. Yeah, it's good to connect with like-minded people. You know, there's not that many people out there hustling at our age. So.
Not at our age, and that's why it was really cool to get you out here and talk with you and stuff.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate your time, and I know that you got to get back to our Hampton Chocolate Factory because they have this new strawberry marketing,
chocolate
and it's
cup,
going insane. So you got to get back and get some strawberries from Publix now. But
Yeah.
that should be fun. So we'll probably visit tonight, and we'll see you then.
I'll see you there.